Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Titan Crystal and whether or not you should hold, some general thoughts about the champions in the pool, and the future Titan Crystals going forward with the changes that KABAM has made. Now, first and foremost, the December Titan pool. Spider-Punk, Prowler, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Silver Sable, the Symbiote Supreme, and Nova are the group that is leaving the pool. So that leaves us with groups 1, 2, and 3 for the December Titan pool. I'll go over briefly each champion and kind of their current status and what people are thinking about them and things like that. Not too much opinion, but just kind of where we're at with them. So Arcade and North Star are receiving buffs, so that's a plus. But if those were champions that you already liked and that you were seeking after in the Titan Crystal, that's a plus, right? They're going to get buffs. They sorely needed it, that's for sure. Patriot and the Leader, I would not be surprised if they too also got buffs. They could really, really use it. They're pretty down in the dumps in popularity for the contest at this time, so I think it'd be pretty valuable for them to get buffs. Superior Iron Man and Hood, honestly, both great champions. Superior Iron Man specifically has been crushing it lately. I haven't seen too much on Hood going on, even though we all pretty much know he's a really great champion. The dupe is nice for him just because you get Power Steal. Otherwise, still good. I mean, he still functions exactly how he's supposed to without it. It is just kind of a nice added bonus, so that's something to think about. In Group 2, Beta Ray Bill was a bit overhyped. I definitely don't want to say he's bad whatsoever. I myself have a 7-star rank 3. I plan on using him, hopefully, in some paths for Necropolis. I do like him in general for a lot of questing and things like that. I wish he was a bit more useful in Alliance War. I understand he can't be good everywhere, right? So I don't expect him to be good in Battlegrounds, just because of speed, even though there's a few matchups that work for him. Enchantress, you know, after Serpent, pretty much one of the top defenders in the game at this time. As much as I want them to nerf Enchantress, for some reason I have a bad feeling that they might not do it. But that's something to think about. Enchantress is a fantastic defender and really good in long form content as well. Count Nefaria has been blowing away the contest in a lot of different ways. For some reason, I'm surprised I don't see as much on him. My alliance mates who all pulled him through that event that they had with Mr. Sinister absolutely love this guy. And they're actually fixing something. There was a bug where some of his healing wasn't working how it should have, and they're going to fix that. So it's almost like a mini buff. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. There's a chance there might be an attacker nerf. I'm not totally certain on someone like Count Nefaria. He's pretty dominant though, so that's something to consider too. Shothra has been doing pretty well. I think, kind of a Maestro counter can get some of those tough Cosmic Defenders, even a little bit of Serpent in there. So a fantastic champ. Has a lot of neat synergies, I think, with some of the Spider-Verse heroes, so that's cool if you'd like to check that out. Infamous Iron Man and Black Widow Deadly Origins. I said this last time, and I kind of want to repeat it. I feel like they would have been great had they been released earlier in a Titan Crystal or even in the base pool for the 7 stars. Like Infamous Iron Man kind of makes his name by being a really great bishop counter and kind of dominating a lot of the mutant class too. But there's plenty of champions who do that now, right? With OG Iron Man, Ironheart, who's in my opinion pretty underrated, and you know then you've got Nimrod and Sentinel now is getting a buff. And so I feel like he's going to be kind of overshadowed by a lot of those champions, so which is a little disappointing. And Black Widow Deadly Origins, same thing. I feel like if she'd been released earlier, the skill class pool of 7 stars really needs attackers. So I think it's neat that they put her in, but it's a little late, in my opinion. Now moving on to Group 3. So these are the new additions to the Titan pool. So that's going to include Scream and Jack-O-Lantern, who came out in October. Scream looks like she's going to be an insane Battlegrounds attacker. The dupe will likely be necessary, so that's something to consider. A lot of my alliance mates have the 6-star and think that she's phenomenal, so the 7-star will only be better. But the signature ability and awakening is quite a big deal. So slowly but surely you can work that up. That's something to think about with that champion if that's someone you're interested in. Jack-O-Lantern came out and is a bit of a really great onslaught counter. What's kind of funny at this time, I'm not too sold on Jack-O-Lantern just because I've kind of figured out my own counters for Onslaught, right? In Havoc, Ironheart, America Chavez can even do it. A lot of champions with high energy resistance. Adam Warlock can do it fast enough. So there's lots of funny things that I think people have figured out because of the absence of like specific counters. So Jack O' Lantern is a bit of a confusing one to kind of think about. If you love him, then great. He works as an onslaught counter and does plenty of other things, so that's awesome. Next is Spiral. So Spiral came out in November, and so Spiral looks to be the perfect serpent counter. So that's kind of seems to be where she's headed, which automatically makes her incredibly valuable in a lot of areas of the game, including Battlegrounds and Alliance War. If they ever put Serpent in some sort of challenge or quest, things like that, she'll definitely be a go-to for that. That's someone I'm excited about personally, and I'd love to see how she does. And so that's one I'm definitely thinking about. Now, this crystal's a little bit different from the previous ones. As you notice, there are three, I guess, current champions that have been added to the pool as opposed to previously where they would normally add two. So this is simply part of the reset that KABAM is doing, in which case the Titan pool is now only going to change every 3 months instead of two, and in which case they will only add one old champion, I guess current champion, and then the other five will include new champions or basically newly released champions. So that's why Dazzler isn't here. KABAM has already stated that Dazzler will be joining the March pool in place of Isophene. So that's something to consider too. There's going to be a bit of a different timing to Titan crystals. Well, let's just go over the three that have been added. Okay, so the three current champions: Rintra, great defender. It's gonna be. I think it's actually kind of neat to see him. It'll be a good one to have in there. He'll be a lot more tanky, and so having a higher health pool and in battlegrounds, I think is probably where he'll shine. Hitmonkey, I think out of this group of current champions, he's the best one to be added. To me, it's exactly what the skill class needs. Is a really strong attacker in the 7-star pool, and Hitmonkey's also got a few tricky things up his sleeve on defense, which makes him a really phenomenal champion. If you're, if that's just someone you want, if you want new champions, it's a little bit of a different story, and which we'll actually go over that too. And then Red Hulk too. Red Hulk's not someone to shy away from. He's a great champion, real strong. He's had a buff, and so he's gotten a whole lot better in the contest. Now that we've gone over everybody that's in the Titan pool, let's talk a little bit about numbers. Sorry if that bores you guys, but I like to think about this because I'm a big fan of getting new champions. Sometimes regardless if they're good or not, I just think it's fun to get new champions, right? Like I don't want to get a current champion. So statistically speaking, this crystal, the December Titan pool, is the worst crystal in terms of odds for getting a new champion because of the reset, adding the three current champions in the game, Rintra, Hitmonkey, and Red Hulk. You now have a 61% chance of getting a new champion, as opposed to in October and previous, it was 66, right? So two out of three, okay, 67%. So, because there was usually two current champions and then four new champions. The odds of that are going to get better. So in March, when the group comes in, we're just going to have five new champions. That'll be Dazzler. We already know January's champions, so that's going to be Okoye and Gentle. Then we'll have February's champions, which I hope includes the Cyclops rework. So I guess you could consider that a current champion, even though he's completely reworked. So we'll consider that a new champion. And then we'll have one current champion added to the game. So in that crystal, the odds shoot back up to normal, like they were in October and previously. It'll be 67% of getting a new champion. In June, as these groups start to filter out, it'll hop up to 72%. And then in September is when we'll have basically the official new Titan pool odds, which will be 83% chance of you getting a new champion as opposed to a current champion, which I think are pretty darn good odds. And so something worth thinking about. So like I said, with the new group that's coming in, the ones that I've mentioned here, I'm going to hold my crystals. I'm going to hold them. So I'm sitting on 7.5 right now. Been holding since Crucible. And so I watched the October and the December update go by. and I believe that the crystals that will come will only get better. I really want the group number 2 or group number 1 right now. So that's Arcade, North Star, Patriot, Leader. I want that group to leave. I think they've kind of damaged the crystal quite a bit. I know they're getting buffs, but I'm going to hold. So for all those of you that are planning on holding, stay strong. I know we can do this. We'll make it to March and we'll see what that update looks like. And hopefully it's a strong crystal and we can have some pretty awesome openings. But I'll leave you guys with that and best of luck in the battle realm, my friends.